Hello, everybody,
Hi.
and welcome to episode 8, my lucky number, of Manic Pixie Dream Women.
This is the podcast.
We are your hosts.
Bro.
In case you didn't know who we are
Ooh,
by now,
important.
episode 8. We are your hosts, Layla.
I'm Miraya, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things post-grad, entering into the industry, and our favorite films that have inspired us along the way.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, ooh, okay. I almost said Austin Butler.
Austin. Elvis.
Elvis. Okay, Elvis.
Well, today we're talking about one of Mariah's favorite movies.
2001, A Space Odyssey, which apparently, according to Francesca Scorsese's TikTok, is Martin Scorsese's favorite film.
Doesn't surprise me because it's a lot of like that generation's favorite film, like Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it's my mom's favorite film. I'm so excited.
Who directed it, Mariah?
Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick.
We're like weirdly unsure how to say his name. It's like weirdly a puzzle for us.
Kubrick. I guess Kubrick sounds fine. Kubrick sounds a little weird to me right now.
Yeah,
Kubrick.
I guess we're gonna say Kubrick.
He's American, so like Kubrick.
Okay.
Like Kubrick sounds like so British. He
We
did
lived
live
in
in
England.
We did our research.
We had the same Wikipedia page search, apparently.
Ooh.
Okay.
Before we dive into
I'm
the
just
movie,
noticing you spelled Odyssey.
wait, what did I say?
It says odd.
Odyssey. You know what? That's okay. If you're
Dyslexic?
I think it runs in my blood. So there you go.
Dyslexia? A famously genetic disease.
No, I actually am concerned I have a brain tumor always. But
Okay.
I think I've become worse and worse at spelling as time goes on. And my brain has started doing that dyslexia thing.
We've started decaying.
Where I've started mixing numbers up. Yeah, we have, I guess. We're always dying.
Gorgeous. Simply gorgeous.
Anywho.
Perfect for this movie's discussion. Aging
Ooh.
rapidly and then becoming a baby.
You know what's crazy?
That's what our life cycle.
You know what's crazy? The main guy, he like turns into an old man, right? And now
Yeah.
he is an old man.
So we just have to wait and then he'll turn into a baby. Wait, you need to do a quick summary for the people who have never seen it.
Ooh, so true. So
How would you summarize this movie?
I know, I was like sort of panicking.
Struggle number 1.
So 2001 is Space Odyssey. It is an odyssey. I would say there are 3 parts to this
And
movie.
it's in space.
It is in space. Partly not, though.
Okay.
Okay. Anywho, and also, most of it does not take place in 2001. Isn't that crazy?
When does it take place?
The second part of the movie is 2001. The third part is 18 months later. So it takes place in 2002. Potentially 2003, depending on when in 2001.
Now we're just getting crazy.
Who knows?
I thought you meant like the 8th part was 2001.
No.
I was like, that doesn't work.
But basically, it centers around this mysterious monolith that appears.
The big old rectangle.
A big old black rectangle.
Yeah.
And we see it throughout 3
Iterations.
3 iterations.
Yeah.
The first is the good old days, pre-human apes.
You remember those days, Mariah? The
Those
good
rough-
old days.
Good old days.
It's monkey times.
I miss it so
It's
much.
the era of the ape, of the hominids.
Did you know this
Our
movie
ancestors
actually came out the same year as Planet of the Apes?
came out the same year my parents were born.
Whoa.
Both of them.
That's
Shout out to
crazy.
y'all. Y'all are older than that as fuck.
My parents are older, so there you go. Sorry.
Ooh.
My mom will not like that I said that. Anywho. So first we see apes rocking about, you know. How in depth should I go?
Just brief. Do a brief summary.
Every time you ask me this question to summarize a movie, I'm like, and so here's
The day I was born, let me tell you.
Yeah, so we see this monolith, and then we go to 2001 when Americans...
It's appeared.
Yes, it has appeared on the moon, and the American government has found it, and then it emits a sound wave into Jupiter. So then the third part of the movie is an astronaut it centers around an astronaut who is going to Jupiter, but he doesn't know why. And soon we find out.
And there's like an evil
Yes.
supercomputer.
Yes, named Hal.
Definitely gives like, it's the inspiration for so many movies,
Mhm.
visually and like plot wise. Like I have seen so many movies that like have done almost like a version of this. Like, have you seen Prometheus?
No.
It's like, I think a spin-off of the Alien franchise, actually.
Oh.
But there's like Michael Fassbender plays like an evil supercomputer,
Yeah.
but he's like in a body. He's in Michael Fassbender's body.
Yeah, that was not a good job I did at describing it. I think it's a hard movie to describe.
It is hard. It's kind of like, it's very abstract, and it's like, it's not very plot focused. There's
No.
like almost no dialogue. It's a
Yeah.
very visual film.
If the movie was just the plot, it would probably be a 20-minute movie, I think.
Shorter.
And it is 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just striking visuals and spaceships
Ooh.
going from one end of the screen to another. See, I was thinking about this. I am very sad for you that
Okay.
I'm assuming you watched this on your computer.
This is one of the notes I have.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I got really sad watching it. I watched it this morning.
Really sad.
Because I was
It
like,
took me 2 days to watch this.
oh.
Because I'm going to find exactly what I wrote, because it's definitely a movie that like needs to be seen in theaters, because like there are such beautiful visuals, and I was like, I should not be watching this on a MacBook Air in my bed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not what it was intended to be.
No, not at all.
Stanley Kubrick was rolling in his grave.
Yeah, 100%.
He was like,
because
my
it's
masterpiece.
he does such wide, like insanely wide
Yeah.
shots, and then these crazy shots of space where like the spaceship is but a dot and all of these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I grew up watching this movie on just my TV, but my mom, my brother, and I saw it on IMAX in the Lincoln Center AMC, which is a ginormous IMAX theater, and it was like one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
It was, and I feel like also the sound, like watching it,
Mm-hmm.
hearing it on a computer versus
It's
like
very
in
I
a
can imagine it's very
theater,
different.
because it's so
This was exactly
sound
when, like, how I
focused.
felt when you had to see Interstellar on your computer. It's like, because it, like, you know, very
Yeah.
similar imagery, obviously space.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is a very polarizing film, even
Ooh.
to this day. Like, it basically either has, and it's kind of been like that since the beginning, since it was
Yeah.
released. It's either 5 stars or 1 star.
Yeah.
Like, there's kind of like no in between, except me. I gave it 3.
I
Anyway,
know, I was gonna
but so
say.
I want to know, why is this your favorite movie, Miraya? One of your faves. Tell me why. What makes it so special to you?
Yeah, here's where we get goofy.
Oh.
Ooh. I think it's 2 parts. I think one, I have to admit, a lot of it is nostalgia, because this was like, I watched this movie so many times when I was but a wee baby. My cousin has a funny story where she, every time, and she would like stay with us a lot, and every time she would stay with us, she would like dread watching 2001: A Space Odyssey, because my mom would just always put it on.
It's a weird choice to put on for children.
My mom loves this movie, and like I remember like really liking it too as a kid. Maybe that's why.
Maybe it's because of like the visuals, like, you know, babies are like, it's like stimulating.
Yeah, maybe. And I
Perfect
think,
film
like,
for babies if they're bored.
Yeah,
Instead of the little like dancing watermelon, just put on
yeah,
this.
and like the music, and I was always very invested in the Hal plot line. But yeah, I've watched it so much as a kid, and I just have like I was feeling so nostalgic today of like just remembering like my childhood apartment and like movie nights with my family, and like yeah, it was really this and Singing in the Rain. It would be one or the other that we would watch. And then I grew just such an appreciation of it when we saw it in IMAX. Although I do remember it was so silly. I mean, it's just such a silly movie, really. Of like, I went to use the bathroom during the 8 part, and like it's just crazy that like you can get up, go to the bathroom,
nothing
walk
has
down
changed.
the stairs, you come back up, and then it's still just the apes just doing the ape stuff. But I will say, I think the apes is probably the fastest paced part
My
of the whole
God.
movie.
The pacing of this, insane.
It's insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
Especially like, this is why I guess like I wish I'd seen a theater, because like I can't leave a theater.
Yeah.
I was like taking breaks. I was like, I need to like stimulate myself.
yeah.
It felt very like ADHD. I don't think I even have ADHD. So I was like feeling very like,
and
Okay.
and like, yeah.
Like I could literally like, go on my phone and like on Twitter, and then I look up and like it's the same shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and so much of it is like it feels like Kubrick. I don't know what the process was in terms of making the score, and like I mean,
There's no score.
there's a score.
That's not his.
No, I know it's not his. But
Oh.
I'm saying like I don't know if the making of the score went in tandem with them like filming it. I don't know what the process of that was with editing, if that makes sense. But it feels very tailored to the score rather than to the plot.
Well, did you hear this? I mean, did you read about this? That like there was like they were working on like a original score, and then Kubrick like just kind of put in all that classical music as filler for editing, just to see like, I guess like here's it with some music, and then he was like, I like this, so that's why it's not original.
But isn't the like screaming monolith stuff original? It is original. There is an original score.
Monolith, like
whenever
the
whenever you see the monolith, there's like this weird like that's literally what it sounds like. I have the name of the man who wrote it.
Or like just like a sound effect though, because I know it said like there's no score for this movie, like no original score. It's used. Oh my god, I'm right. I love being right.
I'm embarrassed.
Shame.
Shame. Okay. Anywho, as
You're
I
not
was
allowed
saying,
to cut that out.
Okay, here's the deal.
I was right.
Okay, but maybe okay, whatever. When I say
so mad.
shut up.
Okay,
I
whatever.
hate you. Okay. I was saying, well, now I sound stupid. And
you
so,
don't.
yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do, Layla. So basically, now I have my answer. Because I didn't realize that literally none of it was original.
Yeah.
None of it.
None.
That's crazy.
I know. Imagine how hard an original score for this would have slapped. Like, think about, like, the Interstellar score, how amazing that was.
Bro, are you kidding me? You didn't like the music in this movie?
I did not.
Why?
I thought it didn't fit. I thought it was, like, it definitely, like, once I read that, like, he put it in as, like, filler and then decided it was good. I know people, like, there's, like, everything about this movie is so dissected as, like, look, everything serves this amazing purpose and theme and stuff. But obviously, like, he was like, this works. But so, I think literally it would have been better with just silence.
Wow. Because I really like the moments when it, like, the music gets really loud. They do this a lot during the Hal sequence where it, like, will be a lot of music and then all of a sudden will be absolutely silent.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe you hear some breathing.
I just
and
thought the
maybe
tone of the music he chose, it didn't, like, you know, it usually the orchestral stuff, like, it matches, like, it has tone of its own. So I feel like the tone of that didn't match anything that was happening in the movie. Or, like, any visual. It was just like, that's not the actual tune, but you know what I mean? It was, like, something so, like, disparate.
Wow. I do not agree with you. Because I think that, especially if you think about, like, the most iconic song, I don't know the name of it, from this movie.
The beginning one? I definitely, like, I wrote down, I was like, oh yeah, like, I've heard this. That's the one I've heard of, like, spoofed. You know what I mean? Like, people will do, like, spoofs of, like, the...
Yeah, I mean, even Barbie.
Yeah.
The Barbie movie does
definitely, like, that I recognize.
Yeah, because I feel like it's just so grand and so big and plays off of this, like...
That one I think fits. I do agree. That one I agree fits.
And I really like the monolith music.
I don't remember it, but, like, I think if it's what you're kind of describing, I'm sure the fits.
It's so...
I'm talking about the ones of, like, once we first see, like, the spaceships, it's kind of like this upbeat, classical, like, kind of like quick. And I was like, ooh, what's going on? It wasn't as, like, imposing or, like, galactic.
Yeah, but I like that. I think that, like...
It was like Springtime and Flowers by Vivaldi. And I was
like...
Ooh.
I don't know, because I think that this movie has so much to do with time. So I kind of like that it was, like, classical music that takes us back. And, like, even, like, it fits... The music fits, like, the vibe of the room at the end that the guy gets into where he's... What's his name? Dave.
Mm-hmm.
When, like, he grows old, where it's, like... this weird, I don't know what kind of architecture or like design that is, but it's like very like old, like something you'd find at, I don't know, at Versailles, and then the floor is like this, I don't know, these lights
It's
underneath.
like Dance Dance Revolution floor.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, this mix of
R.I.P.
this
Stanley
classical,
Kubrick, you would have loved Dance Dance Revolution.
R.I.P. But this classical music mixed with, I don't know, this like what, I mean, also it's
The
one of
juxtaposition of them.
Yeah, exactly. And it is interesting, like this is this not like one of the first space, like fully fleshed space movies? So he's
wait,
like,
you saying isn't it one of the
yeah,
first? Yeah.
so like he was making it. So like what you probably think of when you're thinking like galactic music
Oh, totally.
was not a thing.
Well, that's the other thing, is that like I feel like so much of this movie and so much of why, you know, people regard it as one of the best of all time is because of the experience that they had when it first came out, of like, you know, they saw it in theaters and it was so kind of revolutionary for the time, and all the technology had never been done before, and like there had never been like a real sci-fi space movie, which like I can acknowledge, but it's hard to have to carry that opinion and let that inform mine when I'm looking back from the point of like progress after the fact. Like when we grew up, where like that level of like stunt of like CGI is so present that like it's hard to look back and like be like, okay, trying to imagine a world in which this is like the first thing I saw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't have the same experience that people who revere it have.
Yeah, I think that's so fair. I think the reason that I like it is, I was going to say how innovative it is just in terms of like how to tell a story and like the visuals. And like to me, I am deeply inspired by things that aren't just like fit the mold of what you'd think of.
Yeah.
And like in terms of what we were talking about with Singing in the Rain, of like, this is a movie that's 2.5 hours long that could have been 20 minutes, just a short film, if like there hadn't been all of these visuals, and if it hadn't been so curated, I feel like, to the music. But I just love how it's like 3 separate parts that are 3 different times, and like the mystery to it, and I don't know, I just really appreciate
I didn't
that.
dislike this movie.
Yeah.
I'm still almost like on the fence of like how I feel about it still, and it's definitely something I want to watch again. And ideally obviously in a theater. But there are like things like I'm not of the camp of like it's perfect. It's like, I think, especially like, I guess also part of it is like my training as like a writer is like, you know, those shots are so long and they go on and they like pad the runtime for really no reason.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do they have to be like 10-minute long? He's walking.
Yeah.
He's walking. He's still walking.
Yeah.
So in that way, like, I wish it had been condensed a bit.
Yeah.
But like, I do like the story, and like, I get like, you know, the themes. It's like, I like that it is like abstract. I said like it feels like a foreign film in the way that it's like you'd watch and be like, whoa, like an American audience. I wouldn't imagine an American production company releasing this.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
I definitely think is why it garnered such like people walked out of the theater when they saw it.
Yeah, which is a funny story. Shall we share?
What?
Okay, well, I didn't know if you had also seen this online, but basically in the New York premiere, a sixth of the audience, a rather specific number of people, left, including executives from MGM, which was the studio that produced it, which is funny. And then throughout the rest of the movie, a lot of the audience was just jeering it the whole time and like shouting things. And apparently the movie was 160 minutes long. And so then Kubrick afterwards edited it down to 140 for like the actual release. So it could have been
20 minutes longer.
So you should be counting your blessings.
Yeah. Counting each of those 20 minutes.
But I just thought it was funny. But the reason it became so popular was because of the time that it had come out was during like the psychedelic movement.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so apparently John Lennon said that he saw it every week, and people would take drugs to time it out to certain parts of the movie.
I was gonna say this would be an insane movie to watch high. I'd watch it
Yeah,
high again for sure.
That was the main audience of this movie when it came out.
It kind of did remind me though at the end, like with all like the flashing, colorful visuals.
Yeah.
It did remind me a little bit of like those YouTube videos that are like 20-hour trippy, swirly, colorful. Watch while you're high, like those videos.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly what it was. To the point where, let me just pull this up so I have it word for word, but MGM changed the marketing of it to fit. Let me see. I'm just going to read this. Okay, hippies may have saved 2001. Stoned audiences flocked to the movie. David Bowie took a few drops of cannabis tincture before watching, and countless others dropped acid. According to one report, a young man at a showing in Los Angeles plunged through the movie screen, shouting, "It's God! It's God!"
Okay, damn.
The studio soon caught on, and a new tagline was added to the movie's redesigned posters: "The ultimate trip."
Good for them for pivoting.
Yeah, right? Isn't that funny? Because they thought it was going to be like, I don't know, the next big Oscar. And it, you know,
it didn't.
It did win Oscar movies.
It won one. It got the Interstellar treatment. It won Best Visual Effects.
That is true.
Which I'm still mad at over Interstellar not winning more.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? This is interesting. Okay. So this movie, Kubrick wanted it to come out before the moon landing and was racing to get it done before the moon landing.
He succeeded.
And he succeeded. But then, I have a question for you, Layla. Do you think the moon landing was real?
Okay, I saw the things that are like, he filmed it or something.
Anywho.
I do think it's real.
Okay, me too.
Okay.
That'd be a funny
So
bit.
many of my friends do not think it's real.
Who are you friends?
Literally.
We're looking at
out
you.
on Maine
The only people who listen to our podcast are being chastised.
You. No, they do this in Interstellar where it's like, we revise our textbooks to reflect that the moon landing was propaganda.
Mm.
And then Coop's like, we used to go to the star.
Let's bring it back.
Bring it back.
People were convinced that Kubrick helped stage the moon landing, which is funny because the moon landing was this grainy little video.
Girl, also, Kubrick, like, didn't leave his house in London. Did they film it in London?
I think they did.
I said, have you seen the movie Contact?
Oh, you're talking about the moon landing. I have not seen the movie Contact.
It's Jodie Foster.
Yes, I have actually.
Young Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, I have seen Contact.
It reminds me of this. I read that book too. It's by Carl Sagan.
Yeah, it's very definitely like existential, like aging and all that stuff.
It's like the same thing of like a super intelligent kind of alien race that like we don't really meet.
Yeah,
we feel like their influence.
Yeah. Oh, also,
I liked Contact. Technically better than this.
Well, here's my thing.
It's hard for me to gauge because, like, this isn't like a normal movie. Like, it's hard to like lump it in with other movies because it's not doing the same things other movies are doing.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It's got such a futuristic, minimalistic feel.
Yeah,
it's like art. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. I think this movie goes on to question: do movies have to be entertaining? I think this movie. Was I excited to rewatch it?
Do they have to be entertaining?
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. I think the movies like this that like are kind of it feels like Stanley Kubrick's personal ideology and like exploration of like the themes he wants to explore of like God, the universe, extraterrestrial life. And he just kind of wanted to like share that and like make people think about it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's like how I would interpret that.
Mm-hmm.
But like to get that point across, you have to kind of have a captive audience in some way. So making the movie entertaining is serving you, which is why it's like I don't know how much of a good decision it was to like make everything in the beginning kind of boring. Where like nothing's happening because it's like, well, then you're kind of losing your audience to like tell that point to, you know?
I think that 2001: A Space Odyssey is not meant to be entertaining in the mainstream way we now think about that. Do I think it's a beautiful movie? Yes. Do I think it's a very intelligent movie? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it very thought-provoking? Yes. And I think art above all should be thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Is anyone but you thought-provoking? No, it is not. But it is
We keep
entertaining.
roasting that fucking movie.
And I will to my grave.
We'll keep doing it.
But I think that's what I appreciate about it. What is
Yeah.
that? What
It's
is
really like, it's meant to be like almost like a like it's like if you could have a movie, like a museum that like plays only like movies. It's like this would be the one that's in there.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like his photographer influence too, because he was a photographer.
Yeah. And what was that genre of Italian movies that's like very slice of-
Neorealism?
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely very neorealist in the sense of like it is very slow paced. And what
Yeah.
I really like about that is it really draws you in and it really draws you into the world.
But I will say though, if with the neorealism stuff, even though it's slow paced, it's still like there's something happening, or like there's a relationship or a character that like we're invested in some way. And this didn't really have that to me. Like, obviously there's the lead, Bowman, right? Is that his name? I think so. You don't even
Dave
know.
Bowman. I know him as Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, his last name is Bowman.
But like I didn't really care about him as like a main character. He's just our main character. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of emotion in this film to like latch onto as a viewer, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
And that way it is a bit like, it's almost like clinical. Like it's not, you're not meant to, I get like you're not meant to form an attachment to it, but like.
Yeah, and I would say it's even an argument of like, is he the main character? Like,
True.
with these 3 parts of the movie.
He's our protagonist, I would say. He's who we're kind of following.
Yeah, but not for like, he's only in it for the last hour of the movie.
I will say. So this was at the same time that like, so he worked with a science fiction writer, Arthur Clarke, to work on the screenplay. And at the same time they were working on the book, like the novelization of the screenplay, basically. And so I had read this book a couple years ago and really enjoyed it. It's obviously much more fleshed out, which I think it's a very different experience, because it's like I'm in a world, in a person, like seeing it through his eyes.
Yeah.
And then also I think the ending is different. I don't remember. It's been a minute. But I think it's interesting that like the book I found so captivating in the literal sense of the word. And the movie is kind of like, it's just so dang slow.
Yeah.
And then so that like for me it kind of inhibited my experience at the end, because I was like, I don't really care. Like you kind of lost me a little bit. And also, can we talk about that fucking fetus? It's so scary looking.
It is quite scary.
It looks like Renesmee.
It does.
Like, why is it that big?
Because it's a freaking, what's its name? It has a name.
It has a name?
It has a name. I don't know. It's like Space
Baby?
Space Baby. It's like Space Angel or
Gorgeous
something.
name.
But it's supposed to represent like the next stage of evolution for humans.
We become little babies again?
We become giant angel babies that roam the universe.
Yes!
Because that's what the monolith does. It advances us.
Yeah.
And the book is more clear, and it's like aliens literally use it to advance humanity and create more intelligent life.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely that's why it's like I mix, because it's like it is so pretty. Like I really especially really like the stuff when he's like hurtling towards Jupiter and like all the color, and that's like it's like moving toward us.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And yeah, I get why audiences now especially wouldn't like it, because we're so used to TikTok. And
I also think 2001, like my association is 9/11.
Oh,
I think of 2001. I feel like that's what most people like. That's the first thought of like emblematic of that year.
that's interesting.
Is that not what you think of?
No, because I just think of this movie.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, because
It's like, ooh, he picked a bad year. When you hear 2002, it's like, what comes to mind? Like nothing. Because nothing really, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Damn.
I will say, the lead, his name was Keir. Is that how you say it? Keir Allen is the actor.
I have no idea.
It's Keir. I think it's an Irish name. Oh my god. Don't come for me.
Who are you scared of? Why are you always so scared?
The Irish. They're a very proud people. I don't want to mispronounce your name.
Anywho.
I would just assume it's Keir. Anyway, he's hot.
Mm.
He is scrumptious. In fact, I love that I was watching it and I was like, the way I'm watching this like cinematic movie, and I'm like, ooh, the way it's like a teenage girl. Damn. Are we 25?
Oh.
The way a young girl will just like watch anything and be like, who can I fuck in this movie?
Oh.
Who's the hottie?
For me, it was the ape who gets in the water and goes, "Ah!"
What fucking sounds were those apes making? Has Stanley Kubrick ever heard an ape?
Have you heard a prehistoric ape?
They
Layla?
sounded probably pretty similar to other apes. Like it was,
How do you know?
but it was the craziest. Did you not like think that was weird? It was like
funny.
metallic somehow.
Yeah.
It was a very odd choice. But I was gonna say about the lead actor, not that they ever would, because I don't know who would touch us with a 10-foot pole if they remade it. But if they remade it, Jacob Elordi, I have a part for you. I think the main guy looks so much like Jacob Elordi.
I can see that.
They have the same like lower mandible.
Yeah. I don't know why this man isn't doing it for me.
That's fair.
I'm trying to see it through your eyes. I really want to be there for you. But you know what? Maybe it's good that we don't have the same taste.
We
in
do
men.
not.
We really don't, huh?
Yeah.
Damn. We can never have a threesome. Hey.
Well, we could.
Well,
One of
we
us just maybe
could.
wouldn't be so happy about it.
Oh, true.
Yeah, but I literally was like, okay, Jacob Elordi.
Yeah, that would be
Get
funny.
your agent on
I
the
can
phone.
see that. I can definitely see that. I love Hal. I love Hal's voice.
Yeah, I do like the
Not in a
casting of
sexual way.
Hal.
I would like to make that clear. That was a weird transition to go from Jacob Elordi to Hal's voice. But yeah.
Yeah, I
really
do
like
think that
that part.
casting choice was good. I believe he was the narrator of like a NASA film or like a NASA documentary, and Stanley Kubrick was
Ooh.
like, I want him.
Did you know your phone used to be able to say that, Siri? I
Huh?
tried doing it earlier today and it doesn't do it anymore because now if you say open, it will open an app. So it's like, but basically you used to be able to say to Siri, open the pod bay doors, Hal. And if you said it like 3 times in a row, Siri would say in Hal's voice, I can't do that, or whatever he says.
That's so weird.
Wait, try it right now.
I don't have Siri like activated on my phone. I don't need her listening to me.
Damn, you're
And
hip.
she is anyway, but like
yeah, that's fair.
I don't want to say something and then like my phone does it. So
Yeah, that's fair. You know what is interesting? So obviously this movie, it didn't predict a lot of things right. You know what I mean? Like it's
okay, the furniture they had in the little red chairs.
Yeah.
That was chic as hell.
Yeah, apparently they became like really popular after the movie.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. But it didn't predict some things right, but it did predict some things correctly that I thought were interesting.
Like what?
TVs and airplanes.
Big moves. Also like FaceTime.
Yeah,
Although they have to
FaceTime.
pay for it in their world.
FaceTime. I don't know. I love this movie. It's so silly. It's so goofy. I just love that we're following this random man. Why do we need to watch him FaceTime his daughter for so long?
It is so funny.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
true. Because that guy is like not even important.
But like, I
That
still
little
just
girl
love
actress,
it.
there was a gun pointed at her behind the camera. She was like, what am I supposed to say?
I love her. I love her so much. It's so silly. I love
You
the
can
way
tell
she's like
one of the cast
moving around
or
and-
crew members' daughters.
Yeah,
You
I
know
was
what
wondering,
mean?
is she Kubrick's daughter? I don't know. Also, I was gonna say, I didn't know if you would be interested in chatting about this, but apparently Kubrick exclusively made movies based off of books.
I did. I noticed that.
Yeah, and the reason he wrote a book for this movie was so that he could have a book to base the movie off of.
That's so weird. But I get it. I will say, as someone who writes both, I do find it like I get the level of like adaptability in terms of like understanding the world and the characters to that degree of depth, and then kind of then being able to like remove it all.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to know everything that's going on in extreme detail to have that level of like no dialogue, you know.
Yeah. Although it's interesting because apparently, let me just find this quote. Okay, so Diane Johnson, who wrote the screenplay for The Shining with Kubrick, which is another one of my favorite films. Have you seen it?
I don't like it.
You just don't like Kubrick.
I don't like Kubrick. I don't think I do.
Yeah, I live for the slow burns. I think
You know who else disliked The Shining? Stephen King. Because I saw that, like, so the story's basically about, like, he was an alcoholic.
Oh.
So the story's basically about him, like, you know, and
Yeah.
whatever, trying to get over, like, his alcoholism. But, like, in the book, it's like the hotel is evil,
Oh, but not him.
not him.
That's
He gets, like, a
funny.
redemptive arc and, like, has, like, he, like, becomes good at the end. But Kubrick was like, nah, this guy's evil as fuck.
I
And
love
so
that.
I think King, though, probably, like, he took that kind of personally.
Again, we're back with the, I think, wonderfully talented person, but is also a terrible person. I was gonna be like, I love
Yeah.
Kubrick, and then I was like thinking about The Shining and how he was awful to
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall. Justice for Shelley Duvall, if you didn't know.
I
Anywho.
would be open to seeing his other stuff. Like, but here's the thing: it's not that I'm saying it's bad. That's why I don't like it. I'm just saying whatever he's doing, just for some reason, doesn't click with me. You know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
It's his vision. For some reason, it's not my vision.
Yeah, that's very
Doesn't
fair.
mean like either one of us is right or wrong.
Yeah, 100%. So, anywho, back to adaptations. So apparently Kubrick said that he always said that it was better to adapt a book rather than write an original screenplay, and that you should choose a work that isn't a masterpiece so you can improve upon it.
Ooh,
Which is what he said he always did,
what
except
a dig
for
to Stephen King.
Lolita. He was
Oh.
like, Lolita, I cannot. I don't know. I've never seen.
I've
not read or seen Lolita.
Well, so same thing that at the time it was released, Lolita, like everybody fucking hated it and like it was panned by critics, and now it's like one of the greatest films ever made. It's just crazy that level of like hindsight. Like, how does it change that much?
I know.
Weird.
It is weird. I really like that he stuck with it though. He stuck with
Yeah,
his vision.
he definitely like
things.
had his voice, and he was very clear about what he wanted, and he was
Yeah.
not gonna let anybody compromise that.
And you know what? I'd rather be more divisive than conventionally. I don't know.
I see yourself talking like it's happening in real time, where you're like, "Do I agree with what I'm
No,
saying?"
no, I'm trying to word it in a way because, like, obviously, I want my stuff to be like, okay, I'm going back to Anyone But You. I'm going back to my Anyone But You slander. I'd rather obviously make like,
But okay, you're comparing like the worst of the worst for some reason. Like, you
Yeah,
can
no
have
one
stuff
likes
that's like
Anyone But You.
commercial and still like again, I'm going back to Interstellar.
yeah,
But like you can have stuff that's like appeals to a mass audience and is also like entertaining, but deals with like is a level, like it's a degree of art and like has very like big themes and beliefs in it. Like you can
for
do
sure,
both.
you can do both. But
There's
I
not like
think,
one or the other. You're either divisive because like you're doing something totally new. I don't think my style, I'm not like a revolutionist. Like I definitely don't have like experimental ideas. That's just not my flair.
yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
Do you think you are?
I do think so.
Okay, slay.
I think that like that's probably why I do like 2001: A
Yeah.
Space Odyssey.
I can appreciate it. I don't know if it's like something in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, but I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey and I'm like, I want to make stuff like this.
Yeah.
I want to be able to like take the form and like fuck with it and like make things my own.
Do you think though, because like I wonder like what effect it has if you're thinking like that. Like I'm not saying like you should or shouldn't. I just mean like cuz I Stanley Kubrick, I don't know if he set out to like be like I'm going to do something revolutionary.
No,
I think he just like that's just his vibe was very like, oh, like this is my how I'm imagining it.
yeah, I'm not writing something and being like
Trying to
I'm
be
a
like,
revolutionary.
I'm gonna fucking change the world with this.
No, that would be so insanely egotistical of me. I'm writing things for art's
No, but I mean
sake.
like even trying.
What do you mean?
Like by trying to be experimental, like and kind of almost like forcing it. Is it like organic, or is it like you're thinking like I'm gonna try to be different?
No,
Not
but
saying
I
that
think-
you are thinking that, but like,
I think that if you know what the standard form is and if you know what is mainstream and you're like cognizant of what I'm doing is not mainstream, then like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't have to be like good or bad or, you know.
do you see yourself like working on like rom-coms?
I mean,
Like, do you have like a rom-com idea? Or like you're like, I could do it one day, but like no.
yeah. I mean, my niche that I have found is right now I'm mainly into like scary movies and
horror,
psychological thrillers and horror.
Yeah.
Which I kind of found myself into by accident. I don't even know.
So funny because like I would never have guessed.
I know. A lot
Like,
of people
looking
say
at
that.
you're like a little hey.
Yeah, no, I've gotten that quite a bit, but I don't know. And like what I'm writing, the screenplays I've written are very like by the book. So I'm not saying I'm like I'm going to be the next Stanley Kubrick, but I am just very inspired, and I do appreciate artists who don't feel the need to like do what's mainstream and like aren't afraid of people not liking their work.
Yeah.
I'm sure people honestly wouldn't like my work because it does deal with like certain themes that aren't mainstream. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go.
It'll be very interesting to see how your career unfolds.
I mean, yeah, and that is scary because it's like
if you sell out.
Well, I mean, Kubrick, it is interesting that he like started making his own work and that's how he got into the biz. So, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
It is crazy that they gave him money at all for like any of it. You know what I mean?
I've never seen Dr. Strangelove.
I've not either.
I don't really know what the vibe is in comparison to 2001: A Space Odyssey, but 2001 is like was right after that. So I think they were like, you know, Dr. Strangelove was a huge success.
But then after this, it didn't make a lot of money.
Well, did it?
I don't think it did.
All the psychedelics were going to it. They saved it.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah, so I don't know. Good question. Very good question. I don't know what he made after this.
Would not be made today.
No. There's no way.
I could see like A24 doing it, but it would not make money, in my opinion. I love it. It's like, imagine a reboot of this. What could you remake in any way? There's like 2 seconds of plot.
Yeah, I mean, if you made a more mainstream version of this, where you like made the Hal
I
plot
feel like
the
they
whole
have,
thing.
like I said, Contact.
Yeah,
same vibe.
Yeah,
so many space movies are like derivative of it in some way.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So it's kind of like, I guess that it has been made. This is the first episode I think where like I wasn't overwhelmingly like my opinion was good.
Yeah,
it was more like thought provoking.
Did we have? I don't think we even had goals last week. I think we were just dead. And you know what? I'm even more dead.
I know, same. I don't have goals.
Have been really having a week this week where I felt down in the dumps. I've just been having a stressful week in terms of both of my part-time jobs that I have. And I feel like I'm behind on all of the actual art things I want to do. And I think me being back on Instagram, because I'm back on Instagram and I wasn't for many years, I'm now seeing what everyone around me is doing. And Instagram is a place where people only post good things that they're doing.
Yeah.
And
are you seeing a lot of good things that your friends are doing?
Yeah, like this one guy from my college is assistant directing a play that the woman from Orange is the New Black is in. This girl that I was pretty close to in college.
Follow some underachievers, man. My friends are doing shit.
What? What do you say?
I said I must follow some underachievers. My friends are not doing shit.
Slay.
No, we're trying though.
One of the girls that I was like,
is the thing.
Yeah, one of the girls I was close with in college. She was in the new Mean Girls musical.
Movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I was like, damn. And it's the kind of thing this other girl from my acting program, it's small things. It's not like anyone's like massively successful, but it's like they're booking things. Like one girl, she's in like the new like blood donor commercial. As I say that, I'm like
good for her.
No, it is honestly, as like someone who's trying to be an actor, I'm like, okay, slay, like get that money, like good for her. Her face is out there. That's huge. But like in the grand scheme of things, is that like, I don't know. But it's just like little things like that are adding up where I'm like, oh my God, like
putting a little fire under your tushy.
Yeah, and it's just, and I don't have the energy for it. Like I feel like I'm close to burnout. Like I can feel myself, like I need a vacation. Do I have money for a vacation? No. I do not. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I feel like I've been writing every day. Like I've been getting better at like just sitting down and actually doing it.
I feel like I need to write again because I've been so focused on things that are not writing related
Mm-hmm.
that I just need to get back into it because I feel like writing for me is like a very cathartic experience. And so when I'm not doing well, the best thing for me to do would be to write. But I'm not writing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do I do? I did do something exciting though. This is
What?
very
You
small.
skydive.
I skydived. No, I registered my short film with the WGA. So no one can
Whoa.
steal it from me. But I was just very excited about that because you get a little certificate
Yeah.
that says that your project has been registered for the WGA. And it basically, for those who don't know, it just means that if someone...
It's like copywritten.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a tiny thing. This is not like goal related. This is just a random like kind of industry thing I thought I'd share. So in school, this is for all the screenwriters out there. Hope you're doing okay, buddy. But in school, at least I was taught at NYU, like the formatting was so like like the way the format was taught was so like bland. Like it was like, it's just write it through. No like bolding, no italicizing, like don't like add emphasis or flair or flavor to it at all. Like keep it blank. So I've obviously been doing that for the last 6 years or so because I was taught that again and again. And, but now I read a lot of scripts by like professional writers or just like scripts that are being produced or, that are being put into production. And I'm noticing that rule is not applying. Because screenplays are like notoriously like difficult to read in terms of like keeping your attention. Like you have to that's why I say like you have to hook them because it's like otherwise they will stop reading it. So people are adding obviously like they're bolding their scene headings and like the character names just so you clock it and like it makes it easier to read. And I'm reading them and I'm like, this is much easier to read. Like I don't get why there's this weird like ban on like any sort of formatting. Because after I read all that, I went in and I did that to all my scripts.
Yeah.
Because I was like, whenever I send it out to somebody, I know that like I had a better reading experience and like was able to like I learned that like I was just like skipping over scene headings because I'm like I don't care.
Yeah.
Versus like when they're bold, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to look at this,
Yeah, for sure. It's so silly because I feel like I'm the same way where in college professors were so strict about that sort of thing. And so I was like, oh my God, like I have to abide by this. But like
it
no
doesn't
one's
matter.
gonna pass on a script because you did or did not bold something. You know what I mean? Like,
I just learned that it doesn't matter. And also that like it's helping if it's useful. Like don't go crazy with like, colors and like adornments and stuff. But like if it's actually aiding the person reading it and therefore maybe makes them read it for longer and like it more, go for it,
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think a goal that I have that's not a short-term goal.
Yeah.
But I'm inspired by our friend who just did this. But I feel like I need to write a TV pilot because I personally am not really aspiring to be a TV writer, but there are just so many fellowships out there and competitions that are specifically for TV writers that I'm like, I gotta get my paw dirty.
Yeah, and I do know that like a lot of current feature writers and stuff start off in TV.
Yeah, so I feel like I just need to do one just to have something in my portfolio.
What do you think you do horror? Are you still even thinking of? You're like so not even there yet.
I'm not even there yet at all, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Ooh, I like this goal.
So yeah, that's a long-term goal. My goal for next week is to chill the fuck out, I think. I think I just need to like not put pressure on myself this week.
Yeah.
There you go.
Love that. Take a break.
Yeah.
Don't take things too seriously. As all the advice said last week.
I take everything too seriously. 100%.
Fair.
Maybe I should try writing even just a sentence of something.
I think also like I've recently started writing just like for fun again.
Yeah.
Which is why like I've written like 3 short stories where it's like I'm not thinking it's not born out of like, oh my god, I need to have this feature so that like they can to eventually send to someone so that they can see blah 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 and see if I'm good, blah blah blah. It's more so just like, this is what is coming to me,
Yeah.
and is actually like, it's the joy of it again, as opposed to like the commerce.
Yeah. Honestly, I've been thinking too of like, I've been reading a lot more, and I used to be such a reader, and then in college I feel like, I don't know, I was always just like, I'm too busy, which was that really true? Probably not. But I've been reading a lot more, and I used to like love writing short stories and books and that sort of
Mhm.
thing. And then I feel like, I don't know why I put myself in a box of like, I must only write screenplays. And not that I don't think I would become an author.
Well, just
But
because usually I feel like if I would conjecture the reason you
Mhm.
put yourself in a box is because like there's not many examples of people who do both.
yeah, that's
Because
true.
usually it's like that's heavy duty.
Yeah, but I guess like even in high school, just really enjoyed writing short stories for
Yeah.
myself. And so hearing you say that, I'm like, maybe I should just like for fun. Like, I don't know. I feel like what you're saying is you're writing for fun in terms of like not thinking about
Yeah, just
the
letting
bigger
myself be
picture.
inspired. Yeah.
Yeah. And whenever I write now, I'm just thinking about who's going to inevitably read this, what's going to happen with this.
Yeah.
And like, maybe I should just let myself write something.
Let it come from your heart.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be my goal for next week is just to
Yeah.
like write something silly
Yeah.
just
Write
for
a poem.
me. Yeah. Well, literally write just anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to journal more, but that's another thing.
I went to I went to the Met
Mm,
and just to get inspiration
that's
for
fun.
one of the short stories. I was like, let it come to me. It did.
Yeah. I love going to museums and seeing art. I find so inspiring. I
Yeah.
always have a bajillion photos that I take when I'm at any museum just to be
Mhm.
like, 10,000 stories could come from this painting.
Yes.
Yes.
Totally.
Anywho, what's your goal for this week if you have one?
No, because I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I've gotten, like I said, I've gotten so much better at self accountability
Yeah.
that I feel pretty confident about like how much I'm writing. I just need to make sure I'm like not getting too not getting too forgiving of myself. Because now I'm
Yeah.
almost like the opposite spectrum where I'm like, it's okay. And I'm like, maybe I need to get a little more like, okay, wait, you need to do something.
Yeah, that's fair.
You need to find the middle ground.
It's hard to have the middle ground.
Yeah.
I hope I see you guys next week and I'm like, everything's great, you guys. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah. Hopefully your little brains were stimulated today, as ours were during
Yeah.
this movie.
I feel like no one's going to listen to this episode because no one will have watched this movie. Everyone's gonna be like,
Literally.
what is this?
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, if you're listening, if you're still listening, hey, here's a little, if you're still listening, comment Dingleberry.
Maybe not that word.
Comment Hal.
Kubrick.
Oh,
Hal. Hal's a good one.
comment Hal. Open
Comment
the
Hal.
pod bay doors.
We know you the real ones if you comment Hal.
No one will comment.
It'll be
Oh, it's gonna be me and my fake account.
It'll be me and you.
Me and you.
Press send.
Anywho,
Well, thanks for tuning in if you
thanks
did.
for tuning in. Next week we are watching
Jurassic Park. One of my favorites.
which I'm really excited about because I've never seen it before.
I can't believe you've never seen it before.
I know.
But I think it's actually perfect that it's right after this one because Spielberg was so inspired by Kubrick and they actually kind of worked
Yeah.
together a bit.
Yeah.
Not on Jurassic Park, but just like, and this is an adaptation.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Same
I've-
like groundbreaking visual effects.
Yeah,
vibe.
that's true. Special
So,
effects.
Let's do it.
That was me as a dinosaur.
That was so good.
Thank you so much. Anywho, have a good
Anywho.
one. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.